students, and welcome to the chemistry class. So it's the time for JEE advanced pattern exercise based on the chapter hydrocarbons, and I hope you all have attended the sessions for NEET as well as mains. Now it's a one step ahead. You need to have a proactive thinking. So let us just start with the first very question. What do we have? Isomers of hexane based on their branching can be divided into three distinct classes. That means they have given isomers of hexane and they have given three different kinds of classes of these kind of hexanes. You need to find out what, based on the branching, the correct order of their boiling point. So that is they need to find out. So we all know higher the branching, lower is the boiling point, and that is the main thing over here. Higher the branching, lower the boiling point. Why lower is the boiling point? Because here there will be least van der Waals forces of attraction, and that is what we have. So if you observe the three different classes which are given, here you can see 4 branches are there. Again, how many? 1, 2, 3. 3 branches are already there within the main chain. So that is the main chain. I have got 2 branches. If you see over here, what is the main chain? The main chain is this and the branch is this. Again, the main chain is this and the branch is this. Over here, I have got N-hexane. That means no branching. Highest boiling point in this case. So higher the branching, lower will be the boiling points. So I need a correct order of the boiling point. Highest will be in the case of a straight chain, a linear chain. That is this very compound over here. So 3 followed by 2 having few branches, but having maximum branches is this very compound. That means it will be having the lowest boiling point, and that is what we have over here. 3 followed by 2 followed by 1. 3, 2, 1. I have got my answer over here. I hope everybody is able to following that. So let's just move on to the next very question. So it was a pretty simple question, just based on the branching. So the next is, in the following reaction they have given a reaction. What is this? This is nothing but acetylene. Made it react with H2O in the presence of Hg plus 2. So that is the reaction. I have got acetylene in the presence of Hg plus 2, H plus ions, or I can say water. So that is what we have. And what do we get? They are asking about X. X is also in equilibrium with this. So even if you do not know what will be the product for this reaction, you can easily find out from this very equilibrium. We always know that aldehyde exists in equilibrium with its what? Enol form. So it will be in equilibrium with its enol, which will be this hydrogen shifted onto here, and I get a double bond. Okay, not this very hydrogen, but the hydrogen which is available on the methyl group here. So that is how the enol form will be existing in the equilibrium with this aldehydic form. So it's the tautomerism, we all know this. So that is what we are getting over here. So now let's match up the options, and we can see only one matches our answer. Also, what about this reaction? This reaction always converts the double or the triple bonds into what? Into aldehydes or ketones. If the triple bond is on the terminal, it will be converting it into aldehyde. If it is on the in between somewhere, so it will be converting into ketone. So that is this reaction gives. This reaction gives up an aldehyde. So that is what we get, and this aldehyde is again existing in the enol form that we have made over here. So from either of the ways I will be getting the answer as D. I hope everybody is cleared with the concept here. Now next question, what does it say? The chemical system that is non-aromatic. I need to find out the non-aromatic chemical system. Again, what do we need to do? We need to apply the Huckel's rule. So what does Huckel's rule says? Huckel's rule is quite important from your exam point of view. Cyclic compound, it needs to be planar. It needs to be conjugated. It needs to be following the 4n plus 2 pi rule. So it's 4n plus 2 pi electron rule. So if you see over here in the very first, I've got benzene, that is, we all know it's aromatic. And the circle in between shows nothing but the conjugation. So that is very well known aromatic compound. If you see over here, what do you observe? Is it a cyclic ring? Yes, it's a cyclic. Is it conjugated, having double single double or something like double single pi, double single lone pair, any sort of that kind of a condition here? Not at all. That means it is not fulfilling anyway the Huckel's rule. Also, this is non-planar. Now, what do I have next? This is what? This is again the naphthalene. And we all know naphthalene is nothing but again aromatic. So that is aromatic. What do we have over here? So if you see here, it looks some kind of a weird compound, but that is, let me just tell you, it is azulene. And how does azulene basically looks like? It is a 7-membered ring initially, along with a 5-membered ring, and it has got conjugation in it. That is how the conjugated system is existing in it. This type of conjugation is existing in the 2 rings. So this is nothing but azulene, and whenever we try to perform the resonance structures, the conjugation within it, so we develop such kind of charges over here. It will be a slight dipole moment that has been generated within the molecule, positive to negative. So that is how actually the conjugation is taking place. So this positive and this negative represents nothing but the conjugation, the traveling of or the movement of electrons within the 2 rings. So that is how it is. So this is azulene, and azulene is always aromatic. You can even count the electrons over here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means if you take n equals 2 over here, you get your answer. So out of 4, only this very compound is showing non-aromaticity. I hope that is clear to you. So now let's move on to the next question. What does the next question says? Okay, now it's a multiple choice question we have. You need to be selecting more than one options, or maybe only one is the correct answer. So let us just observe. Among the following reactions which give tertiary butyl benzene as the major product. So I need to find out tertiary butyl benzene as the product. What is our product? That is our product. This is nothing but the tertiary butyl benzene. So let us just pick quickly all the type of reactions and just try to find out the products, whether are we getting the same or not. So here what do we have? In the very first, benzene gets reacted with a compound like this. It is nothing but tertiary bromo, tertiary butyl, you can say butane, NaOC2H5, that is the base we have taken. So it would be, if I consider number 1, benzene reacting with okay, that is the compound they have taken, Br, and NaOC2H5. So if you observe over here, it would be, what kind of a reaction will that be? So this is a bulky group, And if you observe carefully, this is also bulky, sort of bulky. That means what? Instead of formation of a carbocation, what do we form? An eliminated product will be formed. Due to the bulkiness of the main group, due to the bulkiness of this very reagent, what happens? We get not a substituted product but an eliminated product. That means here benzene has nothing to do with these reagents. We get our own product, that is isobutylene. We get this very product. So that is what we are getting over here in this case. So this very compound is not going to react with benzene. It will be going to react, but at some little extent. Now let's move on to the part C. What do we have in the part C? So let's just have an idea. So I am writing down here, again I am taking up the benzene plus this very compound H2SO4. So basically what happens here, this double bond will be shifting to on either sides. So where it will be shifting? Onto that carbon where there will be the formation of more stable carbocation. So here positive is developed, a tertiary carbocation, and here negative is developed. So the negative will be, so this negative charge will be fulfilled by this H positive here, which has come up from the H2SO4. Now what will happen? I have got a carbocation that is tertiary. It is now going to attack on the benzene ring. So that is, now what will happen? We get tertiary butyl benzene as the final product. That is what we need here. So I hope you all have got the mechanism. It's completely very simple. So we are through with this. Now benzene reacting with what? This kind of a compound and aluminum chloride. So let us just perform the reaction here itself. So what will it be? The chlorine is fetched by aluminum chloride because it is deficient of electrons. So Cl negative it takes up. What will happen? We get a carbocation like this. So if you see here carefully, so let me just expand the structure a bit. So that is a carbon over here, we have got CH, and what else do I have? I have got CH3, 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 that is what we have here, and a positive charge here. So what will happen? There will be a shifting kind of a thing, but this positive has come up where? Let me just have the reaction once again. So it would be something like this. Here we had developed the positive charge, and now what will happen? I am expanding the structure. So that is how we have the expanded structure. Now there will be what? The hydride shift. H negative shift. That is the hydride shift. You need to have a proper clarity about the hydride or the methyl shift. Here I am shifting this very hydrogen. Why? Because in order to have a more stable carbocation, that is the tertiary carbocation. So what do we get? We get a carbocation like this. By shifting the hydrogen onto this CH2 group. Now again, this is going to react with the benzene and we form the same compound, that is the tertiary butyl benzene. Now let's move on to the very last. What do we have last? This. Again what will happen? This OH will go off, a positive developed here, again the hydride shift, and again what? Now the positive will be developed here, it is going to attack here, and we get again what? The tertiary butyl benzene. So out of the 4, we have got 3 as answers. That means this, and this. Whereas if you see in A is actually having the eliminated product. So it is having the eliminated product as the major product because of the bulkiness of the base as well as this very group present. So I hope everybody is clear with the concept. In the multiple choice, I have got C, B and D as the correct options. So let's just move on to the next question. What does the next question says? What do we have here? Among PQRS, the aromatic compounds, again we need to find out aromatic, but before finding out the aromatic, I need to perform these very reactions. So what will happen here? I have got one reaction as this, again it is a reaction with aluminium chloride, so the chlorine will go off, it will get attracted towards aluminium chloride, we get AlCl4 negative. And what else we developed? Here we developed a carbocation. That means what? We have got here in the case of P a structure like this. So I am drawing it here. Now if I move on to this very reaction, here Na positive plus H negative. So H negative is serving as a base, that is the hydride ion over here, and the base is always abstracting what? Something which is positively charged. So here there is an acidic proton available, that means H plus available. It will abstract the H plus from here and the H plus will leave its electrons onto the ring itself. So what do we get over here in the case of Q? In the case of Q we get a structure like this, that is what we are getting, plus H2. Now if I talk about this very part, what is happening in this reaction? This is a carbonyl group, the electrons will shift on to oxygen, delta negative developed here, delta positive developed here. So definitely what will happen? I have got H plus and Cl negative, so H plus is attracted towards this. What will happen again? The intermediate state will be a positive developed here and OH over here. So we have so that is what we are having, such kind of a structure, along with what? A positive here and an OH plus a counter ion. What is a counter ion here? Cl negative. That means I am getting this as the intermediate state here. Now let's talk about this very reaction. So it's a typical reaction. Before actually moving on to the mechanism, so let us just write it down. What we have got so the kind of reaction which is expected here is, it is somewhat like this. That is the structure, and NH4 whole twice CO3. This is what we have. Now what to do? First, if you see, this is a diketone. It can exist as enol form. So let me just make an enol form for this structure. It would be something like this. So that is the enol form. Now this enol form actually is reacting with here the nitrogen, or I can say the ammonia. There is the ammonia which can be coming out from this very base, this very salt. So it would be something like this. The interaction would be something like this, loss of water molecules, attachment of the entire nitrogen group to this in order to form a perfect ring. So what kind of a ring will that be? So let me just write this down. It would be this. So this is what we are getting over here. Now let's just check as per the question. Among PQR is the aromatic compound. So I need to check whether these are aromatic or not, which we have obtained. So if you see here, 2 pi electrons and cyclic and conjugated, conjugation with positive. So it will be definitely what? An aromatic. So P is aromatic. If you look on to the Q, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these, this negative charge is involved in the conjugation. That means 6 pi electrons, cyclic, planar, conjugated, 6 pi electrons, also aromatic. So Q is also aromatic. Now if you look on to this very compound here, that means the positive is developed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pi electrons along with the positive having a conjugation is cyclic, is having 6 pi electrons, is planar. So that means what? A tropylium ion. This is nothing but a tropylium ion created. And it is a very stable aromatic compound having a conjugation. So I hope it is clear to you. So we also have S as aromatic. Now let's check for the R. So where we have formed the R product? So the R is here. Now let's just check 1, 2, 3, 4 and nitrogen is having lone pairs. 6 pi electrons, cyclic, planar, conjugated with this lone pair. That means again this is an aromatic compound. So what we have? We have got all the 4 options as aromatic. I hope everybody is clear with each and every reaction. If not, just try to recall all the concepts, then you will be able to perform the mechanism on your own. So now let's just move on to the next very question. But before moving on to that, let me just rub this off. So what kind of a question do we have here? Comprehension or passage type question. This is the comprehension, this is the passage given. You need to answer the questions basis on this. So the catalytic hydrogenation, what is catalytic hydrogenation? It involves the addition of hydrogen, yes, to double or triple bonds in the presence of a metal catalyst. We are talking about catalytic. So what is the catalyst over here? It is these kind of catalysts. These are heterogeneous, that means they are actually having in a different state. So basically they may be solid, so which are present in the reaction. Both H2 and alkene or alkyne get absorbed on the surface. So there is a surface of metal, the hydrogen gets absorbed on the surface, as well as the alkene or the alkyne which is need to be reduced. Then what happens? Then the reaction happens. What kind of a reaction happens? It's syn addition, that means cis kind of a reaction happens. And what happens? The relative rates have been given for hydrogenation. What are the rates? Triple bond having the highest, followed by double, then the carbonyl group and the benzene. If sodium or lithium in liquid ammonia is used, so they are telling us about some other kind of a reduction. Na in liquid ammonia, so we all know what kind of a reaction is this. This is Birch reduction. It is used to create the cis product. So they are telling us about the formation of cis product. We need to have a different kind of reagent, but not a simple catalytic hydrogenation. These reducing agents can also be used to reduce double bonds of the benzene and the conjugated dienes. So that is what they have told us. Let us just now move on to the question. So the questions based on this fact. Which of the following alkenes will react most readily with the H2 under catalytic hydrogenation? So they want H2 in the presence of some kind of a metal. We also know that this is always cis kind of an addition or syn. So which will be more favorable? Here I have got 4 R groups present. So first of all, there should be least possible steric hindrance, that means least possible R groups. So where are the structures having least possible R groups? Here we have 3, here we have 2, yes, this could be a possibility. Here again we have 2, this could be a possibility. But if you look the type of a reaction which is happening, it is syn addition. That means cis kind of an addition. which will be favored by a cis product? Definitely a syn kind of a product. So is this cis? No, this is not cis, but this is. So this will definitely be favorable for the catalytic hydrogenation, although each and every kind of a molecule will be performing the catalytic hydrogenation, but which is the most readily reacted? That is the cis product. So I hope everybody is clear with the concept. Let's move on to the next question. What do we have? Excuse me. So it is, which of the following functional groups is most readily reduced or easily reduced? So we have given this very fact in the comprehension itself. Triple followed by double followed by carbonyl, and the least is this. So they are asking which is most easily reduced. It would be definitely what? Alkyne. So you need to read the passage very carefully to have the options right. So my answer is C over here. I hope everybody is following up. Let's move on to the integer type questions. Now we have got the integer type. So what does it say? I've got a compound over here, the total number of stable conformers. Stable conformers means I need to make up the conformations for this very compound. With the non-zero dipole moment, I must be having non-zero dipole moment first of all in the conformations, but I need to have stable as well. That means perfectly staggered is not our case, but partially staggered will be considered. So how many partially staggered forms are actually or conformers are possible? So let us just draw that. I've got a compound, these are the two carbons here. So how to make it? The two carbons, so let me just represent it somewhat like this. And what else? I've got chlorines. I've got chlorine. I have got bromine. I have got bromine. I've got two methyls. I've got two methyls. So if you observe over here, this is having a zero dipole moment. This should not be considered as the case because they are asking about those conformers having non-zero dipole moment. So this is mu equals 0, which should not be the case. So let us just now try to rotate this molecule to have different conformations. So what do I have? If I rotate it 60 degrees to the right, I am choosing the first carbon that is lying towards U. So it would be if I rotate it clockwise I am rotating. So it would be definitely Br, CH3 and this is Cl. So if I rotate this, what do I get? Let me just make that again. It's completely bizarre. Br, these groups are remaining as it is, chlorine, and I need to now rotate it. That means I have rotated it 60 degree. I get something like this and this. What do I get? A chlorine towards here and a CH3 here, and what else? Again now a bromine over here. So what is this? This is eclipsed, partially eclipsed you can say, partially eclipsed. That means what? This conformation we do not need. We need a stable conformation. So we do not need this. Let me just have another 60 degree rotation. So the another 60 degree rotation will be again fixing up the back carbon and rotating the first one, rotating the one towards U. Like that. And now where do I get the rest? I get it over here. That means now chlorine has come up here and my methyl has gone there and the bromine here. What is this? This is now staggered but partially staggered. So we need this. So we need partially staggered. Let's move on to the next structure. What do we have? Again fixing up the back side. And again what we will be getting is, yes, it would be fully eclipsed. Now we are getting CH3 and Cl. So that is fully eclipsed. Again we do not need that. So I need to have such kind of 60° rotations and so on. So out of all the kinds of rotations you will find, you need to make the rest of on your own. You will find what? You will find 3 partially staggered forms. You do not need the completely staggered form because it is having 0 dipole moment, but you need partially staggered having non-zero dipole moments. That means out of all the kinds of conformers, these conditions are fulfilled by only 3 partially staggered form. So here in the category of integer type, I have got the answer as 3. 3 such partially staggered as possible. So I hope you are able to make these conformers very well. Now let's move on to the next very question. Next integer type question, what do we have? So what does the next question say? Among the following, the number of aromatic compounds. So again I need to find out aromaticity based on the Huckel's rule. I need not go into the detail of the Huckel's rule. So let us just analyze the options here. So in the very first option here, I have got 8 pi electrons, which does not fulfill Huckel's rule. So we do not need this. If you see over here, 4 pi electrons, again we do not need this. This does not satisfy 4n plus 2 pi rule. If you see here, 2 pi electrons. So this is what we have previously done as well. So this is aromatic. If you see over here, no such kind of a conjugation is there, also 4 pi electrons. So again non-aromatic, a tropylium ion, the one that we have already discussed. So this is a proper aromatic compound having 6 pi electrons. What about this? Having 4 pi, not our option. And this again having 6 pi, perfectly aromatic. If you see over here, now this is a typical kind of a example here. This very benzene ring is aromatic. So even if it is attached with a non-aromatic thing, but still this very compound will be called as aromatic. So this is aromatic. And if you see over here, what is this? This is nothing but phenanthrene, also a class of just like naphthalene. So it is perfectly aromatic. If you count the number of electrons here, we have got 6, 6, 12, 13, 14. N equals 3 will give the answer here. I have got 14 pi electrons. That is perfectly aromatic. So how many options we have got here? As per the question, number of aromatic compounds I need to find out. So I have got 1, I have got 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the answer here in the integer type is number 5. So I hope everybody has got the answer right. Let's just move on to the next question. That is the last question what we have. Okay, it's an assertion reason type question. So the directions we already know. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is true, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation, or maybe a correct explanation. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false, 1 is false, statement 2 is true. So that is how we are going to select the options. Let us just move on to the question. I have got statement number 1. Bromobenzene upon reaction with Br2Fe. So let us just have a map of the question. Bromobenzene on reaction with Br2Fe gives 1,4-dibromobenzene. It's not dil but di. So 1,4-dibromobenzene as the major product. So they are saying, so what kind of a reaction is it? It's an electrophilic substitution. That means here there will be the generation of Br positive, and we know that due to the plus R effect, that means here the bromine is actually donating kind of a group. It will activate the benzene ring onto ortho and para positions. Therefore, this Br positive can come over here or can attack onto the para position. So what will be the major product? We will be getting two products, one major and the other one as minor. Due to the symmetry, we have got this as the major, and due to non-symmetry, we get this as minor, and that is major. I hope everybody has got the same answer here. So now the statement 2 says, in bromobenzene, the inductive effect of the bromo group is more dominant than the mesomeric effect in directing the incoming nucleophile. Is it so? Here, not the inductive effect, minus I effect is not predominant, but plus M effect, that is predominant, and that is actually making this electrophile to attack on the ortho and para positions. So that means this statement is not at all correct. In bromobenzene, the inductive effect of the bromo group, that means in bromobenzene there is no such kind of an inductive effect role playing, but the mesomeric effect. So that means this statement is not at all true. That means what kind of an option we are going to choose here? In the assertion reason type, I have got the answer as, it would be statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is completely false. So that is what we are going to choose. I hope everybody has got a similar kind of a product over here. That is what? That is nothing but 1,4-dibromobenzene, that is this very product over here. And I hope you all have followed up what all mechanisms that we have did in these 10 questions. These are very, very important from your exam point of view. You need to practice, you need to revise these questions once again, or if not one more time, but multiple times. So I'll be back with a next question round in the next session. Till then, have a good day.